Yeah, we had to go back to the old way. Tell you about it in a minute. The truth about Minneapolis, Mom. Probably what you think. The top blue states that people are running away from, they're fleeing fast, and Democrats are testing exactly how woke is too woke. Not that they care, but they're testing to find out. Welcome to the Jay Sheldon Show. We are live on Rumble and only on Rumble because the Rumble Studio app, which is what I normally use to simulcast to X and to Rumble, and we tried YouTube and it just wound up being a giant cluster. So anyway, it would not let me sign in. Everything was all set up. I hit start stream and it said something went wrong. So we went back in. We did things the old fashioned way and we popped in. And as far as I can tell right now, we are back and we are live. Yeah, so we're out there. Marilyn says, finally, Rumble. Does Rumble not like us? You know what, Marilyn? I'm beginning to truly think that might be the case. Just this minute, did today's show showed up after a million refreshes and retyping in the show name. Yeah, it's because they wouldn't let me get on the air. Now I'm back on the air. Oh, man, a Shevitz. Let's hope we don't get this stupid delay thing. We'll see what happens. All right, so we are live on Rumble. Thank you for popping in. We appreciate that. We'll upload the show to YouTube and X later on after the show is done. But all that and more is all, it's all coming up. It's Friday, so it's got a kind of a one of these, whatever. We're going to cover a bunch of stuff, but honestly, it's a Friday by 1,000 degrees. Things are here, there, and everywhere. Right, let's see. The truth about Minneapolis Mom. Well, the left's narrative fading fast. More information coming out about Renee Nicole Good, the woman shot and killed by ICE agent Wednesday after she used her vehicle, obviously, as a weapon and tried to run down one of the agents. Far from being a new in-town gentle soul, the wonderful Good reportedly was a rabidly anti-Trump radical who had been trained as an ICE watch warrior. Presumably knew what she was doing when she behaved very aggressively towards the officers. Now, Democrats and their leftist foot soldiers have spent the last day lying to themselves and tying themselves in knots, trying to cast the blame for Good's death on the ICE agent, the Trump administration, anybody they can blame except themselves, claiming she was simply a mom, unfamiliar with the area, fighting through traffic when unlawfully confronted by law enforcement, those big evil people. Scared and overwhelmed, the left said. She had no choice but to flee in her vehicle. Well, the truth is, Good was there for the very purpose of disrupting these federal immigration officers as they carried out their jobs. It's emerged that Good had moved to the area last year and had connected with area anti-ICE activists through her 6-year-old son's charter school. That charter school sounds like an unabashed indoctrination camp, frankly. Been described as a place that puts social justice first, prioritizes getting kids involved in political and social activism. Kids, isn't that nice? She was a warrior. A mother named Lisa says she died doing what was right. Her child attends the same school. She told the Post at a growing vigil where Good was killed on Wednesday. Good and her wife, Rebecca, 40 years old, apparently chose to send Good's young son to Southside Family Charter School, which is a K-12 academy that offers, quote, a curriculum rooted in social justice. K-12, What? How about reading, writing, and arithmetic? One of their founders, Susan Oppenheimer, once said of the school, "Family school is more than a school. It's an ever-growing, evolving, multi-generational community that is unabashedly dedicated to social justice education." Kindergarten through 5 years, fifth grade, rather. Yeah. It's through Southside Family Charter School that Good connected with a group called Ice Watch. These are local leftist activists, and all they do is devote themselves to trying to disrupt ICE activities in the area. That's what they do. Apparently been known to use vehicles as weapons before against law enforcement. Similar coalitions cropping up all over the country. Activists using phone apps, whistles, car horns to warn neighbors when ICE shows up. ICE Watch activists also turn confrontational. A lot of instances of activists ramming agents with their cars in the past. This is not a first time. This Lisa revealed that Good was trained against these ICE agents. What to do, what not to do, a very thorough training, to listen to commands, know your rights, whistle when you see an ICE agent. This is Lisa. "I know she was doing the right thing. I watched the video plenty of times, but I also know in my heart the woman she was, and she was doing everything right." Well, unsurprisingly, we also learned that Good and her wife fled to Canada a few months before the 2024 presidential election. Eventually came back to the U.S., settled in Minneapolis. Homeland Security Secretary said Good spent hours before Wednesday's shooting harassing and impeding law enforcement operations. That's what she was out there doing. Plain and simple. Nobody is celebrating Good's death. Let's be plain and clear about that. But it is also becoming abundantly clear that she could have and should have avoided engaging in this aggressive way with agents. There's just no doubt about it. She let her radical views cloud any little piece of good judgment she might have had. Again, the old adage, play stupid games, win stupid prizes, right there before our very eyes. No, like I said, nobody is celebrating this death. Nobody. Least of all this show. But she aggressively headed towards that ICE agent and wound up dead. Danny, please don't freeze today. It stops a couple seconds about every 4 seconds. Man, I'm doing my best, folks. Seriously. Oh, man. More news continues about the Marriott hotels. You know, those idiots. Apparently, an employee of one of the Marriott hotels in Minnesota stole ICE agents' information, doxed them online, and the good news is they got to learn the hard way. What's worse than ICE agents being banned from checking into a major hotel chain? A rogue employee at one of these hotels, which does welcome ICE agents, who takes it upon him or herself to steal the agent's personal information and crib surveillance footage showing their faces. Add fuel to that fire, this idiot moron employee then posts the images and the information to left-wing social media. Yeah. Imagine this scenario? Well, guess what? It's an absolute reality. From Bill McLaughlin, I guess. An independently owned Marriott hotel in Bloomington confirms to Fox News they've ID'd and fired an employee who doxed ICE agents by leaking their names, emails, and surveillance images as they checked into the front desk. The images appeared in an anti-ICE Reddit post that went up last night. Blurred the names and emails and faces. Hotel in question was the Residence Inn in Bloomington, and the photos appeared to be from the perspective of an employee at the front desk. We know the left really all they want is dead ICE agents. Plain and simple. That's all they want. This is why they bitch about ICE agents wearing masks, obscuring the license plates on their vehicles. They want to expose and make them vulnerable as if they weren't already. The agents do all they can to protect their names, their personal information, because a leak of any of this information could be very well traced and easily traced back to them. It'll expose not just him or her as an ICE agent, but their families and their friends. It's not just their lives that are on the line here, folks. These mentally unstable lefty morons, like the transgender leading man who recently tried to break into an Ohio home of J.D. Vance, our vice president, the one who planned to assassinate Supreme Court Justice Brett Kavanaugh, arrested around his D.C. home. These agents cannot put their loved ones at risk like this, let alone themselves. But for these sickos, it's all about the ends. So whatever means, they consider it completely justified. Like this brilliant Hilton employee in Dallas did a TikTok video, still in his uniform, admitting that she doxed ICE agents. She said she doesn't care if she loses her job because it's all about the families and unity. You got to see it for yourself. Unbelievable. Unbelievable, these freaks. Marriott Corporation reached for comment, referred him to the affiliate that actually owns the hotel. Company got back and said in a statement the employee had been fired. The privacy and safety of our guests, says the local hotel, is the utmost importance to us. Upon learning of the situation last evening, we immediately investigated the matter, identified the person responsible for capturing the image in the post. The individual is no longer an employee of our organization. Incredible. Absolutely incredible. Well, if you are like a whole bunch of other people and you're living in one of these crazy blue states, chances are if you're a normie like, you and me and a whole bunch of other people, you're trying to get the hell out as fast as you can. And the numbers don't lie. Once again, here we go. Blue states, predictably, are among the top annual list of where people are leaving. Get me out. Newsom, California's governor, has a rather bad habit of taking to his rather childish social media accounts and boasting about how wonderful California is, how how great the state has been under his leadership, especially compared to red states like Texas, Florida. And he takes every opportunity to badmouth in the media as well. Strangely, he never really mentions the statistics that are put out annually by U-Haul, the moving company. They've got a predictable trend in recent years. Blue states have taken most of the prime spots. California once again garnered numero uno. Hardly something the governor would boast about. If this story seems a little familiar to you, there's a reason for that. We have talked about this in the past. The 2023 U-Haul survey results. Well, back in December, blue state governors and legislators, not exactly covering themselves in glory by attempting to block Trump's no tax on tips, several other policies that are meant to help out Americans in their pocketbooks directly in those states. Johnson, Speaker of the House, called him out. No, it does not help sidestep the major mismanagement if you're rich. Red State's Jennifer Van Laar's latest investigative report on the 2025 Palisades fire catastrophe shows that far too many Californians aren't dreaming. Instead, they're living in the nightmare made by Newsom. Unbelievable. But yes, of the top states people are leaving, once again, blue states right up there at the top of the list. Let us out. Let us out. Oh, man, a Shevitz. Where are we going? Yeah, we're going to Blackout Coffee. Wait a minute. Let me get a sip. Oh, man. Blackout Coffee, a company that is here in America, a company that is an American company. They work with local co-ops and American farmers, and they grow the absolute best beans, the best soil, the best organics, the best altitude, all the good things that make coffee beans what they should be. Then they pick only the premium beans. Those would go into your roasted coffee beans or ground if you pick. Blackout Coffee supports our First and Second Amendment, the right to life. They're big supporters of our military, our first responders, ambulance, police, fire. Unbelievable, these folks. They do not only the best roasted coffee beans on the planet, always full flavored, strong coffee flavor, but never ever bitter. They've got instant cold brew. Yes, they do single serving coffee pods, all kinds of flavored coffees, which are incredible. Their premium coffees, all now available, not just the roasted beans, but you can also get them ground for you. Oh yeah, they offer that option right there. You see ground. Brutal Awakening, Morning Reaper, Smooth Finish, my absolute favorite, Pitch Black Espresso, and Covert Op cold brew. This coffee, folks, I've been harping on it for a long time because you need to give it a try. Check it out. If you want to try one of their flavored coffees, grab a bag of that too. And if you're a first-time customer, you use the code J20, Jay20. J20 will get you 20% off your first order. J20 is the code. Use the link in our show notes to get over there. See this? Signature blends, partner roast, flavored coffees, cold brew. They also do cocoa and tea, by the way. We don't talk a lot about that, but yeah, they've got some great cocos over there. Thousands of 5-star reviews. Look at these coffee puff. Cinnamon French toast. I've tried that. It's brilliant. Blueberry crumble, excellent. Chocolate cherry, climax. Mm, look at this. More than a coffee, it's a stand. Every sip fuels American jobs, American values, and freedom. Strength that never quits, energy that works as hard as you do, sunrise to sunset. Blackout Coffee, the link is in our show notes. Pick up a bag, just a single bag if you like. Give it a try. You will be impressed and you'll be back for more. Use the link in our show notes for Blackout Coffee. Thank you, John Santos and the gang over there at Blackout. We love you guys and we're very proud to have you as a part of the show here. Let's head back across the other side of the earth because we don't cover a lot of international news, but when something as big as this goes on, we got to talk a little bit about it. The internet now down in Iran, protests raging. Trump has vowed some very harsh consequences if the mullahs start shooting demonstrators. The anti-regime protests raging on for days now in Iran. Populace rises up against the repressive economic decline the mullahs have brought on this formerly free, prosperous Middle Eastern country. People have had it. Yesterday, widespread reports say the internet was down across large areas of the Islamic Republic. Demonstrations increased in intensity. Not clear if the despot leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei or one of his minions ordered it cut off. In any case, most people do not have access to the internet, so at the moment we don't know entirely what's going on over there. In the capital, apparently Iranian authorities have cut off the internet access. Other areas of the country, mass protests chanting against the government continues. NetBlock's monitoring organization said about 8:30 local time Iran, its live data shows #Iran is now in the midst of a nationwide internet blackout. Incident follows a series of escalating digital censorship targeting protests across the country. A lot of time, meanwhile, protesters reached a fever pitch. The population over there has had it. They are done. Images absolutely unbelievable. The people of Tehran burning down regime buildings right now. The crowd is massive. Look at this. People really have had it. This is Tehran. You're watching a revolution unfold live. While the world's media, honestly, have you heard about this on media? Very, very little. They choose to ignore it. That is huge. Trump supporting the rebels, of course. A lot of people felt Barack Obama abandoned resistors during these uprisings back in 2009. This has happened before. Got put down. Salam Media radio host Hugh Hewitt, during a Thursday interview, said the president said he would come hard after the mullahs if they started shooting protesters. One of the reasons you take down your internet access is because you want to start doing something you don't want the rest of the world to see, if you know what I mean. Protests have already caused a number of deaths. Mullahs attempting to crack down as they usually do, but they're having a lot harder time of it this go around. Maybe the reason, like I said, they've cut off the internet because they plan on doing something they don't want us to see. Trump said, don't do it. Fair warning. Incredible. Some sad news out of Utah again. There was a deadly shooting outside a Utah Latter-day Saints church. Multiple casualties reported. Multiple people shot, 2 killed. Gunfire rang out outside a Mormon church in Salt Lake City while a funeral was taking place inside. Salt Lake City police called to the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints Chapel on Redwood Road Wednesday. Some kind of altercation had broken out in the parking lot outside the church while attendees were going into a memorial service inside the church. No motive released. Salt Lake City Tribune says of the 6 injured, 3 were in critical condition. Salt Lake City Police Department spokesman Glenn Mills said the condition of the 3 others was not immediately known because they were taken to hospital in private vehicles. He did add that all of the victims were adults. Shooting occurred at the Rose Park 5th Ward Meeting House of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. The initial call came in around 7:30 p.m. Posts on X from the Salt Lake Police Department updating the situation. 2 people killed, at least 6 more injured, with at least 3 of those in critical condition. Suspects still outstanding, but they have solid leads and they are working closely to locate those involved. No word on the hunt for suspects, no updates that I can find, but it is a nightmare. Danny, in our chat on Rumble, anything to hate Trump? What? Who's that supposed to be? They deployed ICE. They would have loved it. My daughter's friend says she hates Trump only because of ICE. My daughter was so funny because she was shouting, "How are people that dumb?" She has a couple of classmates that are liberal, so she's constantly asking me questions to spit the facts at them and shut them out. Very proud of that kid. She's got common sense. I guess so. Yeah. How bad is the fraud? Well, not just in Minnesota, but hey, let's pick on Minnesota some more. Why not? How bad is it? It has gotten so bad, the White House has created a new position of Assistant Attorney General in order to go after the fraud. Vice President Vance said the White House decided the best way to streamline anti-fraud efforts was to make a brand new division at the Department of Justice. New Assistant Attorney General position will combat the kind of widespread taxpayer fraud committed by Somalis in Minnesota and elsewhere around the states. The nominee will be announced in the coming days, Vance said in a White House press briefing. Majority Leader John Thune promised a swift confirmation process. Good. Creating new Assistant Attorney General position will have nationwide jurisdiction over the issue of fraud. That person's effort's going to start and focus primarily, of course, in Minnesota, of course. But it will be a nationwide effort. Unfortunately, because the American people have been defrauded in a nationwide way. California, Ohio, Washington State, all tremendous amounts of fraud going on. The biggest, of course, happening in the Somali community in Minnesota. Vance also called for Governor Walz to resign, said it's very clear either he knew about the fraud in Minnesota, he knew about the welfare fraud, or at the very least, he looked the other way. Quote, I mean, this is not like Lex Luthor, right? It's not movie villain fraud. This is the lowest IQ possible fraud. He adds, Tim Walz, either it was unbelievably incompetence or he was in on the fraud. That's one of the things we are going to get to the bottom of. Good. Away we go. Oh, Joe Biden. Okay. It wouldn't let you fit the letters in the chat. What the hell is wrong with Rumble these days? Come on, guys. Get it in gear. Jeez Louise. What is this weird headline? It says, places where Trump is suddenly very popular. But don't expect the legacy media, corporate media, to talk anything about it, of course. Altica Research, which is a marketing and public opinion research firm, just put a poll on Donald Trump's popularity numbers in Latin America. Yeah. It was conducted January 3rd and 4th, so just a few days ago. It was right after the capture of Nicolas Maduro. It will probably come as no surprise to us here in the U.S. Realize the good president is doing our entire world some fantastic work by taking down Maduro and his whole regime, restoring Venezuela to peace, sanity. But as it turns out, the folks south of our border like what our president is doing a lot. Most of them. According to the polling, Trump is viewed most favorably in Costa Rica, 87% approval rating. Chile, country just overwhelmingly rejected communism in their latest elections, 78% viewed our president favorably. Despite President Gustavo Petro's mad ramblings about imperialism, 77% of Colombians approve of Trump. Panama, 76%. Peru, 74%. Argentina, 61% of the people of Argentina are Trump fans. 60 in Ecuador, even Uruguay, one of the few center-left holdouts in that whole region. Over half the people there, 52%, are pro-Trump. And just like 43% that like our president in Mexico. About half the country, a lot more than I expected. This is incredible. So, I know you might ask, why do we care? So many people, even on the right, complaining about this particular part of our president's foreign policy, focusing on Venezuela, courting the Western Hemisphere. It's not America first. Well, you are either severely short-sighted or willfully ignorant or, frankly, just plain dumb. We could talk about all the different reasons why this is exactly America first. One of the many that are missing, our interests do not stop at our border. They don't, especially in the Western Hemisphere. Families, economies, the consequences of crime. You leave that unchecked, you can't do it. They are deeply connected. Beyond time now that Republicans remember that fact. The Pew Research Center, Latinos, one of the fastest growing racial ethnic groups in the U.S., they currently make up 20% of this country. That's a lot. In the past, that particular group has voted Democrat. But that is changing. We saw that in 2024. Latino voters very much helped Donald Trump win that presidency in a very big way. And if we Republicans want to maintain power and prevent a continuation of what we went through back in 2021, we got to continue to court the Latino voters. I hate judging people by groups as opposed to individuals, which is the way it should be done. That's what Democrats do, and it's gross. They see groups, particularly minorities in this country, some sort of possession they can control. That's not what I'm talking about. What I'm saying is that longtime conservatives and many Latino individuals have a lot in common. We tend to be family oriented. We value life. We've got strong religious beliefs, often that lead to very socially conservative views. We're not far apart at all. In fact, we are linked right up in many, many ways. Tend to be hard workers in entrepreneurship, self-reliance, economic mobility. We tend to be extremely patriotic, love our country, and will do and vote for whatever is best for it. It's hard to find someone who loves the U.S. more than the people who immigrated here lawfully, who are looking for opportunity, who are looking to follow the American dream. And we can and should come together for the greater good if the GOP and our party's candidates can remember something that the Democrats and the media constantly and maybe purposefully forget. All voters are individuals, capable of changing their minds when they see someone who truly aligns with their values, somebody who does what he says he or she is going to do. Josh Cortez, he's an 8th-generation Texan running for Congress to represent the state's 25th district. He wrote a piece for The Hill. He claimed Hispanic Americans are no longer buying what the Democrats are selling. Here's a part of his article. As a Hispanic conservative from Texas, I see this shift everywhere I go. It's happening in our churches, small businesses, neighborhoods, around our kitchen tables. It's a movement rooted in lived experience. We know what it means to work hard, play by the rules, fight for a better future for our children. We've grown tired of this failed leadership that's made life harder for working families. Now back to the poll. Hispanic voters in our countries have got family and friends spread out throughout Mexico, Central America, South America. Many of you get emails almost every week from someone whose wife's family or parents, siblings, or cousins live in Honduras, or Brazil, Chile, Costa Rica, even Venezuela, Cuba. And a lot of you do business in some of these countries. The majority of these people want the same thing that you and I do, a better life in our own nation and in their own nation, not just the ones that make the headlines. For years, the Venezuelan regime has been an absolute cancer on them too. Mass migration, drug trafficking, organized crime, support of corrupt politicians, terrorist groups. By handling that, President Trump is creating a brighter future for all of these sovereign nations in the Western Hemisphere, every single one of them, and have a positive influence on the Latino population right here in the U.S., and it already has. Venezuelans, Latin Americans, incredibly joyful, incredibly appreciative. Post on X says Trump and Marco Rubio, in less than 1 week, changed 25 years of dictatorship in Venezuela. Everything is moving so fast that what's happening almost seems unreal. God bless the forces of heaven. Post on X from someone in Venezuela. How about that? This is a pretty gross story, and frankly, I considered not running it. But I think you need to know. The details are quite frightening. A murderer from Florida left a 5-year-old girl to be eaten by alligators. And now he faces the death penalty again. This is the moron. This is the absolute scum of the earth. Florida man abandoned a 5-year-old girl to be eaten alive by alligators November of 1998 and may once again face a death sentence. 76 years old Herod Brady, sentenced in 2007 to death after being found guilty of first-degree murder, kidnapping, and other charges. The young victim in this case, identified as Quantisha Maycock and her mother, Shandell Maycock, also a victim Brady had befriended before the killing. Prior to the child's death, Brady became enraged after Maycock asked him to leave when he showed up at their home. He drove the woman to the sugarcane fields, choked her until she was unconscious, and then drove the child to an area known as Alligator Alley. According to the Visit Everglades website, Alligator Alley is between Naples and Fort Lauderdale and is known to be chock full of alligators. During the initial trial, Maycock testified she woke up at one point after being choked and put inside the man's car. She then grabbed her child, jumped out as it was moving, said Brady stopped, choked the woman again, put her in the trunk, she testified. Maycock never saw her daughter again. The article noted that before he targeted the mother and her kid, he'd been released from prison for good behavior after he served 13 years of a 30-year sentence for attempted murder. Took this child, dropped her off in Alligator Alley, perfectly alive, knowing that she would likely wind up being eaten by the alligators. And she was never seen again. If they're going to carry out the death sentence, I got a couple suggestions for how you might want to do it. Know what I mean? Yeah. Man. All right, I'm not going to do this Democrats testing how woke is too woke because it's just a stupid story and I don't want to waste your time doing it. What I do want to waste your time doing, since it's a Friday, is to share with you some very smart dogs. Yeah, I know, I'm always winding up with a cute dog video. But hey, it's a great way to wrap up a week. Blackout coffee, yum. Okay. Oh, by the way, thank you for all the emails and comments and DMs. There is about a 99.9% chance that once Mr. Bongino takes back the airwaves starting at 10 a.m. Eastern, we are going to move our show to 9. All right? Not final decision yet, but we're right there. So there is a good chance that's going to happen. Just so you know, that'll be happening, I don't know, sometime around the beginning of February is when Dan said he would start his show again. I'm not going to try and even compete even for a moment with that audience. I'll be watching it myself. So we will be moving our show very likely to 9 a.m. Eastern, beginning whenever Dan premieres his show. There you go. No big deal, just an hour earlier. And you can always watch us on VOD if that's not convenient for you. Also, I'm working very hard to get the stream up and running so it runs more smoothly. I know the troubles we've been having with it lagging. We have checked everything from our end. We've got folks at Rumble working on it. We'll see what happens. I'm also looking to get a new camera. So if you want to help support the camera fund, there's a PayPal link down in our show notes. You want to send me $50, $100? Want to send me $1,000? That's all we need. We'd be done. I'm kind of doubting that's going to happen, but the link is there just in case you're feeling generous, because these new cameras are expensive. All right. There's smart dogs, and then there's smart dogs. Our little girl, Miko, a Shiba Inu, who has a complete mind of her own. She does what she wants, when she wants to. She has a new trick that when she wants to go out, or if she wants a cookie, a treat, she will come, and if you're sitting down, she'll sit down next to you, and she'll stare up at you. And if you don't pay attention to her, she starts doing this. She starts petting you. Like, I'd like a treat, Dad. Anyway, she is a smart little cookie, perhaps as smart as these little guys. You have got to watch this. I'm not going to play the whole thing. It's over 2 minutes long. But absolutely, this is not AI, folks. These are real. Look at how smart these dogs are. This is crazy. Watch this one. Opens it. Puts the toy in. And then closes it. That is amazing. E. Sweet. This is crazy. One more. Watch this. That's a tough get over there for using the nose. Poink. That's a smart doggy, all right? There's more. It goes on. Absolutely amazing. All right, folks. What else is going on? Let's see. Joe Biden wouldn't let me fit all the letters in, wouldn't let me. You can see it in the eyes. You're right. The story is sick. I can't even imagine a 5-year-old, especially. I pray Jesus comes to these babies early so they feel no pain before they're gone. Yes, Danny, indeed, we do pray that. I just want to believe it. I think of my babies and I can't even imagine. My 15-year-old, still my baby, and I can't imagine. Let's hope you never have to. Thank you, folks, for a wonderful week. It really has been. We appreciate all of you being here. Please hit the follow button if you haven't done that. Subscribe, follow, whatever it is on whatever platform you're watching us. Most importantly of all, head over to some of our sponsors, Blackout Coffee, Patriot Mobile, get signed up, and give your money to companies who share our values, our conservative Christian values. We appreciate that. If you just want to make a donation to the show for our new camera, you can do that at PayPal. There's a PayPal link down in our show notes, too. Taking a shot, why not? Enjoy your weekend. Spend it with someone you love. And I will see you right back here again on Monday for the start of a new week of the Jay Sheldon Show.